And Josiah is sleepy. What time did you get up this morning?
3:30.
3:30. Perfect. All right, so we are live. It is time. The season is finally upon us, and we are here to break down every little bit of this game coming up. Welcome back to a Titan Bros video. Another one. It's going to be fantastic, I'll bet. Could very well be better. I was say could be better than our recap.
Yeah, exactly. Right now, we do this video with hopefulness and glee in our eyes that we will be 1-0 and victorious after Sunday. But our recap could be us like, oh, we suck.
Could be. Hope not, but could be. So yeah, we're here. We're ready to go. We're super pumped because this time of year, all teams are filled with so much hope.
Yep.
For most teams, false hope.
There's very few teams right now that's like, yeah, we don't have a chance. You know what I mean? Most fan bases like, yeah, this year we're gonna be good.
Yeah, even though Robert Saleh said something funny at the beginning of last season before, Aaron Rodgers has a little incident with his Achilles. He literally said in an interview, he was like, yeah, there's only really about 5 teams every year that actually can make a push for the Super Bowl. And obviously we're one of them. I'm like, oh, you think so?
Well, nice. I think if Aaron Rodgers was healthy, I 1,000% think they could have been.
Yeah. Yeah, but sometimes you don't say the quiet part out loud.
Yeah.
But anyways, here we are. We can talk about the Jets actually next week because that's what we're going against in week 2. But today, it is Titans v. Bears. And I don't know about you, but I am so sick of hearing about the Bears. So sick of hearing about the Caleb Williams. So sick of just the positivity. I understand the positivity. But, remember Rich Eisen had Jeffrey Simmons on the show and even straight up said, just so you know, you're going to be completely overlooked. If y'all win, it's going to be about, was Caleb Williams not as good as we thought? But if y'all lose, then it's all just going to be like, Caleb Williams is the best thing in the world.
Yeah, that's just honestly the life of a Titan fan anyway. If Titans ever played a primetime game, that's how it always is. If we win, it's not about how good we did. It's about how bad did the team do that we beat. And then, it's like, so they never really talk about Titan to begin with. But it is what it is. And it doesn't really matter on who talks about us. All it matters is if the Titan Bros talks about the Titans because we get you all the information that you need.
At least a decent chunk of it. Yeah, it was a good plug. Good plug. At least a decent chunk of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember the worst example of that ever was in our 2019 season playoff run where we beat Tom Brady, ended his career with the Patriots, and they didn't even say her name. You wouldn't even, if you would have been listening to it on the radio or something, you might not have even known who the Patriots won against. They just knew that was the end of Tom Brady. And then the next week was the exact same thing. We spanked the Ravens, and the 14-2 Ravens sent MVP Lamar Jones. I'm just making up people. Lamar Jackson sent him packing. And the only conversation was, is he just not good in the playoffs? Is he a choke artist in the playoffs? Oh, Ravens, Lamar Jackson.
Which is still a question to be had.
It's true. It's very true. But anyways, we die.
Back to Chicago and Tennessee. Yeah. So what's some opinions you have? What's something you're going to be looking forward to this game? Keeping your eye on.
Let's start off with the offense. I need to see Will Levis. I said Levis. Will Levis. I need to see Will Levis continue to do what he did in the preseason. Preseason's preseason, going against backup defenses. But 4 drives, 3 touchdowns, 1 field goal. You like that. And obviously, it can't be continued at that clip. If it does, then we're going to have the best offense the football world has ever seen, which obviously not going to happen. But I really would like to see us score more than 17 points. For some reason, the last 3 seasons, the 21, 22, and 23 season, 17 was our bane. We so many times would score 17 points. We would not go over. It was hard to get us even in the 20s, much less, obviously, we have that long drought of no points in the 30s. I just want to see us put scoring drives together, even if they're not huge plays. I need to see efficient plays. I need to see throws on first down. That's another thing I want to see.
Yeah, I was gonna actually mention that, but you got it. Yeah, I think Will Levis is. And I made a video a couple weeks ago about this actually, but to me, and I know it's easier to talk about the quarterback because it's such an important position, but Will Levis is the big question mark. I think our roster is pretty good, like pretty good to really good. I think I really like this roster. I really like what Carl Thon has done this offseason with this roster, but I don't know if Will Levis is the guy or not. And if he's not, sadly, we're just not going to be good. That's just how it is in the NFL. If you have a bad quarterback, you're just not going to be good. And so I am going to. I'm curious to see what Will Levis looks like. He now has a head coach that's on the offensive side of the ball. This head coach will be able to help him out more than Mike Vrabel was able to. I think it's going to be more of a quarterback friendly offense. Will Levis has more than enough weapons, if you ask me. If he can't show up and show out this year, I'm like, all right, let's move on and find our guy. So, I'm gonna be keeping a close eye on him. Let's see what he does in Chicago. Chicago has a pretty decent defense. I think they're gonna have one. So we shall see what that looks like. But I would need Will Levis to have a above average game here.
Yeah, I completely agree. He can't be bad. If he comes in here and just looks bad from the get-go, and he has like a touchdown, 2 picks, we score 13 points, I'm not going to be happy. I'm not going to be happy at all. Now, obviously, the whole thing, week 1's a lie. That's what they like to say, which in a lot of ways it can be. But I need to see Will Levis look like a starting caliber quarterback.
I agree.
He can't start like Tannehill started last year with his 3 interceptions. It was awful. So,
but one reason that makes this game so important, and it's hard for me just going to have that positive attitude if we lose it, saying, "Oh, week 1's a lie." That no reason to panic. Let's see what they do in week 2. Is I think Chicago is one of our most winnable games out of the first 4 to 5 weeks. You know what I mean? So if we drop this game, that could be big trouble going forward. We could end up easily being 0-4.
Yeah, sadly, very much could be, especially if Aaron Rodgers goes back to being Aaron Rodgers. But that can be our conversation for next week. I'll be honest with you, I'm going to jump the gun a little bit with our score predictions. I originally was going to for sure have the Titans win this game because it's Caleb Williams' first real game. But sadly, with DeAndre Hopkins just kind of casually saying that he didn't strain his MCL, but he tore his ACL, that just kind of got dropped on us out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Not just that, but I'm sure you saw today, Cheeto Awuzie was added to the practice injury report. He's added back to that with calf strain still / whatever. So if we go into week 1 and our number 1 or number 2 wide receivers out, and then our number 2 corners out, I'm like, come on, just starting off on the wrong foot.
I saw that same thing. I'm like, man, this feels like definitely Titan football. The deal, like Uze, that sucks if he's hurt, but he'll be back. But the whole DeAndre Hopkins thing, I'm like, that's a big deal. That, and they kind of dropped it like it's nothing. But from what I heard, basically he's gonna have this for the whole season, and I'm like, that's a big deal for us.
Sadly, yeah. I mean,
this is DeAndre Hopkins. We need him to have some kind of production. Maybe he doesn't have to be 1,000-yard receiver. We would like him to be, but we have Calvin Ridley, so maybe DeAndre Hopkins don't have to be 1,000, but he needs to be 800-ish yards, wouldn't you say, to have a decent offense?
800 plus. That's what I was hoping for. But yeah, at this point, it's like I listened to A to Z Sports this morning, and they were acting like if you can get 10 or 11 games out of him this year, that'll be probably a good thing. I'm like, man, really? So just like that, it's going to be Treylon Burks having to play a lot, which means he's going to get hurt, which means it's going to be back to Nick Westbrook-Ikhine being a number 1 wide receiver. We always say we love him as a number 4, but the fact that he keeps getting thrusted in as the number 1 and the number 2 is what makes us have like a kind of like a sour taste in our mouth when it comes to him.
Yeah, I just the game game 1 hasn't even been played yet, and the DeAndre Hopkins injury really, really hurts. But it is what it is, right? We got to make it work.
I mean, yeah. All I'm going to say is it's a good thing we went after Calvin Ridley.
Oh my!
Because if we were trying to run it back with D Hop and Burks again, and now suddenly he'd be gone, and it'd be just Burks. Just Burks
Yeah.
and NWI as our starting 2 receivers on the outside. So, yeah, it's very unfortunate. Very unfortunate. Good.
Well, when we go to defense, I'm going to have something that's kind of funny what I'm about to say, but then I'm going to go back to what we're just talking about, receiver, and tie this together. You want to go to defense?
Yeah, that's fine.
So go to defense. What I'm looking for is it's kind of 2 players right down the middle. I am excited to see what this is going to look like because we have not got one glimpse of it. Sweat and Jeffrey Simmons. That's a whole lot of muscle mass right down the middle. I would like to see how we do against the run. I think it's going to be good. I like to see if we can create some pressure down the middle because I think that should help Jeffrey Simmons having Sweat beside him because Jeffrey Simmons has not had great help next to him, in that kind of position. So it'd be nice to have Sweat and Jeffrey Simmons. So I am curious to see what that looks like. So it's kind of I'm seeing what Simmons is going to look like with Sweat. I want to see what Sweat looks like his first game. But the reason I said I'm going to tie this to the receiver thing is as excited as I am to see what Sweat and Jeffrey Simmons is going to look like together, I do feel like this, and I feel like this even more now of Hopkins' injury. I wish with that round 2 we got a receiver because there was still some decent receivers out there in round 2.
Like A.D. Mitchell, who ended up going to the Colts and just looked pretty solid in off-season work.
I still think I would think we should have gone receiver. I really do. But we got Sweat, and I've heard good things about him so far in this offseason. I have. So I wasn't excited with the pick, but maybe he can prove me wrong. Him, Jeffrey Simmons, maybe that could be a nice tandem, though. So that's what I'm going to keep my eyes on.
Which would be good to see because something you and I both always said is Jarrell Casey never had a good player next to him.
I feel sorry for him for that.
Last year with us, we drafted Jeffrey Simmons, who missed the first couple months of the season with his ACL tear.
Mm-hmm.
So we finally got to see the both of them a little bit at the end of that 2019 season. Then in 2020, we traded him to the Broncos for a 7th-round pick. But then we just basically replaced him. So then it was just Jeffrey Simmons with a bunch of no-namers. Now, it was nice having him with Danico Autry.
Yeah.
But now he's got somebody bigger than him right next to him with T-Sweat. I want to see what they look like.
Yeah.
Not just that, but I'm hearing that the biggest issue with the Bears offense is their interior offensive line. So them two need to wreak havoc, and Harold Landry and Arden Key need to not lose containment on the edges. So if they push forward and flush them out, they can't overrun their assignment and let him have a nice hole to squeeze out of.
Yeah, one thing that does scare me a little bit, and I also heard somebody say this, but I feel like we're gonna send the house. That's what Denard Wilson. Denard Wilson's gonna do. Yeah. He's gonna send the house. But his whole career in college and you've seen a little bit of preseason, Caleb Williams is really good at escaping pressure, really good at that. So if we send the house and he escapes it, there's going to be wide open receivers because they have a loaded receiving core. So especially if Uwuze is not playing, that really makes us thin down. You know what I mean?
I was just going to say, because, if we had a Woozy, you send the house. If it doesn't get through right away, you would like to think that Roger, Cheeto, and L'Jarius Sneed can be on their people. But is it Jarvis Brownlee Jr., I guess, would be the starter right outside?
And he was, a 5th-round pick?
5th-round rookie. Now, obviously, he's looked good, but at the same time, he's a 5th-round rookie. He's going to have to be going against DJ Moore and Keenan Allen and Rome Odunze. And
that doesn't sound good. So I am curious to see if Uze is out. Does that change what Denard Wilson going to do, or is he still going to stay true to what he wants to do?
I don't know. I guess we'll have to see.
So sending the house to Caleb Williams is, to me, I don't know how I feel about that. Like I said, he's a master at escaping those things, so it could bite us in the butt. But you could also say this is his first game, and so maybe you could get under his skin and get his nerves going, and you can make him do some stupid mistakes. You know what I mean? So I'm not sure how it's going to go.
Yeah, we'll say. Besides, unless you're a Titan, with Mariota and Levis, most of the time rookie quarterbacks, no matter how good their season actually ends up going, their first game's not great.
Yes, I saw
CJ Stroud's actually was not great last year.
I saw a stat, and I cannot remember what it was, but it was something like 15-46 is what the first overall quarterbacks has been. It was something like really bad, like 15-46. So hopefully Caleb Williams can keep that going. I think he's going to be a good quarterback. Like, I could have a completely different opinion of this game if this was week 7. But
Yeah.
being week 1, I think that should help us a little bit.
In my opinion, that was one of the few lucky draws we got with the
Yeah,
schedule.
one of the few ones. I will say this real quick back to the injury list. Jamal Adams, you saw that he's hurt and he's not playing, and I'm glad we got Diggs because that takes the pressure off. I'm not that mad about it, but I think it's safe to say don't expect nothing from Jamal Adams. Like he may just play 2-3 games and don't expect nothing. But thankfully, since we got Diggs, we don't have to put much pressure on him.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing. If we didn't sign Diggs, then this would be a big issue. But since we did sign Diggs, I'm like, Jamal Adams, if you ever show up, cool. If not, we only wasted $1 million on
He
you.
didn't practice all that much either, did he?
No, I don't know what's wrong with his body, but it's shot. It is shot.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'm trying to think of what else we need to say before we jump into final predictions at the end. We're 16 minutes in.
Let's see here.
Yeah, so again, like I did say, I was originally for sure 100% saying Titans win week 1 against the Bears. But man, if DeAndre Hopkins and Cheeto Awuzie don't go, that's not good. That's not good at all.
The Hopkins things really bothered me because the Awuzie, it bothered me for week 1. Mm-hmm. But I like he'll be back. You know, I at least I haven't heard nothing about this being a major injury. Have you?
No.
Yeah, exactly. So, but the Hopkins thing, like this is a season thing, like gonna bother them through the season. So that one, that's a good punch to the gut before the season starts. Kind of like now it's not as bad, but Harold Landry, he tore his ACL between preseason and week 1, and so that was like a kick. That was a punch to the gut before the season started. Yeah. This Hopkins thing is kind of the same thing. Yeah. But anyway, so do you want to say scores?
Yeah, we might as well. Just go ahead and jump around into these scores here.
All right. You forcing me.
I think I already know what yours is going to be because if you want to follow the Titan Bros Instagram page, Josiah Pilcher runs that over there. Yes. And I saw his prediction, which is crazy because it's 1 point off of what I was saying, which I'm just going to be overexcited just because it is week 1 and I love being wrong on week 1. So I actually have the Titans winning 23-20. That's what my prediction was. I don't know now, but I'm just going to stick with it.
All right. Maybe I'm being a homer, which I try not to be. I really, try not to think more highly than I should for the Titans. But I am going to pick the Titans. Now, don't get me wrong, the Hopkins and Awuzie thing is bad. But I'm going to say Titans win 24-20. And I say that just Caleb Williams is going to make a mistake or two that, again, if we played him in week 7 or 8, that he may not make. But just being week 1, his first game in the career, in his NFL career, he's going to make a mistake or two. That's going to be the difference between winning or losing. And again, it's going to be a good game. I don't see any team blowing anyone out. Do you?
No, I don't think either team gets to 30.
Yeah, I don't think either team gets to 30. I don't think it's going to be blowout. I say 24-20 Titans, and let's hope we're both right here.
Here is to hoping. And yes, this is just us being homers, probably more than likely. But at the same time, we have our reasons with, we already talked about the whole starts, how rookie quarterbacks in their first start, not always great unless you're a Titan, like I said, because Mariota and Levis had fantastic starts. But that's a rare thing, no matter how good the quarterback ends up being. All right. With that being said, is there anything else that needs to be said?
Oh, I don't think so. Just tighten up. I'm excited. I feel like this has been a very long week for me. I've been really excited for this.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. It's been a long time coming. I'm so pumped. Tomorrow, the Titans play, which is insane. It's exciting. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. Hopefully we have this same excitement next time you see us because, there'll be a recap, which hopefully we'll be able to get to that Sunday evening. So, with that being said, I think we're going to get on out of here. Tighten up. Let's beat those Bears.